I've always wanted to make a face your fear piece of jewellery. It could be a necklace, a bracelet, or even a pendant to remind you of a time when you conquered your fears. What's your fear? Public speaking or heights? Or even spiders? Well, guess what mine is? It's a big, slimy, scary snake. Time to face my fears. Okay, so this is Renee. Hi.
Hey,
You've brought some
Jacqui.
friends?
I have.
Okay, and I'm gonna just...
So this is Teddy Bear.
Oh, no, okay. Oh, there he is. Teddy Bear. Hi, Teddy Bear. Oh,
and
my gosh.
This is Cupcake.
Hi, Cupcake. What type of snakes are these?
So you're holding Teddy Bear, the spotted python.
Yeah.
So that's as big as he gets.
Yeah.
And this is the world's biggest, the reticulated python. She's
Wow.
just a baby.
Oh, she's a baby. How
Just
old is
a
she?
baby. She's only 3. When she's fully grown, she's going to be able to eat a whole goat.
Right, so these guys, they're non-venomous, right?
They're pythons, so that means they constrict their prey.
Ah, so they give them a big cuddle.
They do.
So, Renee, if you find a snake in the wild, what should you do?
You should always leave it alone. They can be quite nervous and cranky, and if disturbed, they will bite.
So why are we allowed to hold these guys?
Well, these were raised in captivity, so we've been handling them since they hatched, and they're actually commonly used with our school shows here at the reptile park. So they absolutely love kids, and they're very well behaved.
Oh, it's moving a lot. It's really scaring me. Oh no, I don't want to hold it anymore. There we go.
Fine.
We're good, we're good.
That's
Okay.
All right, Jacqui, now if you really want to beat your fear of snakes, you have to hold the biggest snake in the world. All right,
Okay.
here we go.
Okay. Okay.
Nice, strong back, round the neck.
Oh!
Beautiful. There you go.
I don't like it. Where's its head? What?
She is.
There she is. Hey, I'm doing it.
Beautiful
Look at
work.
it. Wow.
The biggest snake in the world.
Hey, buddy. Oh, it's giving me a big cuddle. Oh, I think he's giving me a kiss. Whoa, that was so close. Wow, look at all the beautiful colours and patterns. This is giving me an idea. You know what? Thanks for your big cuddle, Cupcake, but I think it's time to give it back. I face my fears now.
Good job, Jacqui.
Thanks,
Well
Renee.
done.
I'm gonna go and get cracking. Whew, time to get arty. I'm gonna make a snake clay bracelet today. So what you're gonna need is a chopping board, a rolling pin, some paintbrushes, a clay cutting knife, a skewer, some paints, leather or ribbon, clear sealant spray, and of course some clay. Let's get started. First step is to roll out your clay and make sure it's all the same thickness. There we go. That's about the right thickness. Just cut a long rectangle into your clay, and this will wrap around your wrist. Now just using your clay knife, make sure the edge is all nice and straight and clean. I'm just using a tip of a skewer to draw in the scales into my air dry clay. All you have to do now is poke 2 holes in either end for your ribbon to go through. Okay, the next step is to get your bracelet and measure it around your wrist so you get the perfect size. Yep, that looks about right. And then let it dry for 48 hours. That's all dry now, it's time to paint. Now I'm going to choose 3 different shades of blue to paint a nice snaky scaly pattern. Now the way I'm going to get my 3 different shades of blue is adding a bit of black to one and a bit of white to another. I'm going to base coat the whole bracelet with this light blue. Now it doesn't look very snaky yet, but I'm going to colour in some of the scales with a darker blue in a diamond pattern, just like that big scary snake I was holding before. Now just use the scales you engraved earlier to make your diamond pattern. Now I'm using my mid blue to paint all the scales inside the diamonds. And to finish off your painting, just pick out a few random scales outside your diamonds to paint in the mid blue. Well, that's all dry. Let's spray with some sealant, and that's going to stop your paint from chipping. Now my little tip in getting your ribbon through those little holes is wrapping a little bit of tape around the end. It's just like a shoelace, and it'll thread right through. There we go. Ribbon is through. put it on your wrist, tie a bow, and you're ready to go. Nah. And make sure you get a mate to help you tie it on. Hey, you. Thanks, Max. Now every time I look down at my bracelet, it's going to remind me of the day I conquered my fear of snakes. No, still scared.
Making molds can be so much fun, but a little bit daunting if you haven't done it before. This is a great project to do with an adult. It's a little bit messy, a little bit time consuming, but stick with it because it'll look great. And this is what you're gonna need. A jug of water, some containers, and some alginate. This will form our mold and you can find it at art supply shops. Plus flat wooden sticks, a set of scales, mixing bowl, plaster of Paris, a bit for the drill, and of course, a cordless drill. And a tablecloth to keep everything clean. First steps to mix your alginate. I've already pre-mixed some here. On the scales, it's about 4 to 1 or 350 grams to the 1.5 litres of water. What we do, we just pour that in. Before we put the last one in, you can see it's sitting on top. So to make some room, get the adult, grab a drill, start mixing. What you want to do is just slowly get it in there like that and give it a little mix. This is where it can be a bit messy. You can see it's gone purple. Later it'll change to blue and then lighter blue as it sets. So just get all that dry stuff off the top. Just being careful with the drill all the time. There we go, I've made some room, ready for the top. Just pour that last one in and keep mixing. And you just want it till all the dry powder's all mixed in and it's going to be like a jelly consistency. Okay, so keep mixing till it's nice and creamy and smooth and all the lumps are gone. There we go. Then making sure your hands are clean, pick a pose. I'm gonna do a nice relaxed hand because it's gonna be in there for about 8 minutes. So roll up your sleeves, get ready to get a bit gooey. You wanna make sure you try to keep your hand as still as possible until it changes to a nice light blue color. And as soon as you feel like your hand's stuck, then it's time to pull it out. Make sure you're not touching the sides of the bottom of the jar because it'll ruin your mold. Okay, the mold's all set. Now it's time to wiggle out your fingers. Just keep wiggling until you feel it all come apart. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You'll feel the airlock loosen and out comes your hand. Ta-da! Okay, now the mold's set, it's time for plaster of Paris. So what you need is the water and just pour it into your mixing bowl. Just enough, about 1 inch deep. Add some plaster. Now you want to make this a nice mound of plaster and just pour it until it's an island in the middle, and that's going to soak for a couple of minutes. Once you've let that sit and soak for about 2 minutes, time to get your hands messy. You might need to add some water to make it that creamy consistency so you get all the detail in the mold. And just keep mixing that through until you have all the chunks and hard bits out. Now that's a nice creamy consistency, it's time to pour it in the mold. And once it's poured, you want to give it a tap to get all the air bubbles out. And roll it round so you get all those details. Now let that set for about 3 hours. Okay, now we've let that plaster set, it's all gone hard, time to get it out of the mold. Now grab your wooden stick, slide it right around the edge of the mold, and this is going to release it from the jug, right around the edge. There you go. And once you've gone around, pick up the jug and flip it over. And it gets a bit stuck, just loosen that, and voila. Now using the wooden stick, we're going to separate the alginate from the plaster. Cut a line from one end to the other. It's nice and gentle. The stick won't damage the plaster, so Don't be too gentle. And once you've done that, using your hands, just pull it away from the cast. Pulling it away until it's all gone. It should just come off really easily. You can use your stick if anything's stuck and just dig out those tricky bits. Now you've got all that off, just wipe away the excess and you got your plaster cast. And there you go, you finished hand mold. Rock on.
Some people say counting sheep helps you to go to sleep. Well, I'm going to count some sheep too, except mine are a little different. To make these adorable sheep cupcakes, you will need these plain cupcakes, buttercream icing, which is just butter and icing sugar. You will need your white fondant, your black fondant. You'll need your food colouring, which is just flesh tone or copper. You'll need your toothpick, your paintbrush, your knife, and your palette knife or a butter knife.
Make sure you always get an adult's help with knives. You'll also need a clean dishcloth, a bowl of icing sugar, and a rubber band.
And of course, let's not forget our little marshmallows to keep them warm. So first, let's grab our gloves because we don't want to stain our hands. So I'll just pop these on. So let's grab our fondant.
It's decorative icing. You can get it at some supermarkets and cake specialty shops.
So we'll just give that a bit of a knead so that it is soft and workable. And we'll grab our food colouring. I've got flesh tone, but you can use pink or brown, but use the tiniest amount. I'm just gonna not even do one drop, just a little tiny dab like this. And then we'll go from there, because you can always add, but you cannot take out. I can't stress to you that enough. So I'll just give that a knead. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna add one more dab. We're trying to get that at least pinky flesh tone. So once the dye's in, you can take your gloves off. Okay, so let's make our icing sugar poof. So for that, you will need one of these cloths. So we'll grab some icing sugar, which we will put an amount into the middle. We will grab our elastic band so that we can tie it up. So I'll go ahead and do that. And we will tie that up at the top. And I'm just going to poof away at the bench. So I use this because it doesn't make me have big clumps of icing sugar. Now that our bench is dusted, we can go ahead and make our sheep's heads. Now, grab our colour and we'll get the amount that we think. Let's grab a bit more. Let's be generous. Let's make our sheep heads quite big. They look super cute and they're big and cartoon looking. Okay, so I'm rolling them into a ball because when you grab and pull from one part to another, you do get creases everywhere. So we're just gonna roll it around and make sure that we don't have any more. Now, we've got to try and get the shape that we want. So the shape you're going for is an oval. So once you've done that, we're going to just pinch the top of the head, kind of just play around with it a little bit till you get the right shape. I think that's pretty good. So now, let's make the ears. I like to grab a bigger amount than necessary and then I halve it. I don't know why I do that, I just do. So we'll do that. So we will halve that, like that. Put one down, roll it into a ball, roll it into an oval again, and then we're just gonna press. Just press a little bit. So we're going to grab our paintbrush so that we can stick on our ears. So we'll just dunk that just a little bit and wipe off any excess water. And just one swipe is enough. We'll put that down and now we'll stick them on. And I just kind of like to do a little bend because it's kind of cute. And then we'll do the other one, roll into a ball, then an oval, and then press. And then we can stick it on. So now he's got cute little character ears, and then we'll get our toothpick and we'll make his nose. So placing it in here and then moving it up just to get that drag in the fondant. Okay, now let's make our beady little eyes. So we'll grab our white fondant. I'm going to grab the whole lot again and halve it. Make a circle. Roll, roll, roll. Then we'll roll a little oval again. We'll have a look. You know what? I think that's actually pretty good. So we'll grab our paintbrush again for our water. Take any excess water off. So let's try and do that. A little wipe in the middle and stick him on. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Now, we're going to do his pupils. So we need the black dots for that. And this is where the black fondant comes in. If you don't want to buy it, you can just buy some licorice or some sort of lolly. That'll work just as good, as long as you can get the right size. So we'll try and do that. Roll, roll, roll. I'm going to halve it. So we'll get the water again. We'll dab on the eyes, and then we'll stick them on. He's looking like a sheep already. Bah. All right, let's put him aside. Put him over there. Okay, so it's time to put his body together. So let's grab our plain cupcake and our buttercream icing that we previously made. I usually put 175 butter to 350 icing sugar, I should say. So now let's get our knife, our butter knife or our palette knife, and spread it on. Nice and, well, it doesn't have to be even. It doesn't even have to be neat, really, as long as you get it all over. So I think that looks pretty good. We'll put that aside. I'm just gonna wet it just a little bit, just to make sure that it's all nice and sticky. Grab our little sheep head. We'll look for the highest point on the cupcake, which I think is about there. So we'll stick our little sheep head on. Yay, I have a body. Okay, let's make him warm. So I'm gonna cut the marshmallow. I only cut off the teeniest amount so that you expose the sticky part. And we're gonna use the sticky part and stick it down. So sticky side down, right? There you go. You have your sheepy cupcake. Bah. You can join his flock now.
My first memory of art would probably just be drawing as a kid. My mum used to give me giant pieces of paper, and me and my brother would invent all these monsters and just draw these big monster scenes. And that would for sure be my first memory of art. In school, I always loved art, obviously. That was kind of my subject that I was always kind of good at. Loved sport, loved being outside, and I was always into science and stuff. My name's Scott Marsh. I'm an artist that uses a lot of spray paint in my work. Something I got into when I was a kid, and it's just become such a big part of my life that it's kind of part of who I am, so without doing it I just feel strange. I have to do it. In terms of safety stuff, when spray painting I always wear a ventilation mask which protects me from the fumes. My artwork, it's basically a process of layers. So I like to start from a magenta or orange or yellow, just a warm base coat. Then from there, I draw whatever I'm kind of painting with a white crayon. And then from there I do really loose spray paint, so underpainting. A lot of drips and just kind of put in the dark and light tones. Then after that I put in the details with wet acrylics and then black and white enamel to finish it. In terms of advice when I started out, I think it's important just to make your own mistakes and learn your own lessons. Something that works for one artist or one person might not necessarily be the best advice for another. So you kind of have to just plod along, make mistakes and learn your own lessons and kind of find out what works for you.
Almost everyone that I spoke to who were involved in fine arts would say, oh, you're an amazing painter, but you should really ditch the whole graffiti thing. And then somehow, through the good grace of God, I've been able to convert it into a career, which has been fantastic. If you really have a passion for something, it doesn't matter what it is, you'll find a way to make a living out of it.
I'm Scott Marsh and I'm an artist.